Hey everyone, welcome to the Self-Worth Foundations course. I'm Robert Christensen. Thank you for joining me. So let's get right into it. What we got to do is define self-worth to start with. Before we do anything, we have to define self-worth. And the self-worth is so critical to your success in every aspect and every dimension of your life. It cannot be overstated. It is the key foundation, or what we call a tent pole of everything we do in Motor for Life. So let's get into it. What I want you to do in this lesson is just take it in. I don't need to take notes for this one. This is just a simple lesson about the definition of self-worth, and it's all about you. So give it time to settle in. Listen to the concepts. See if they resonate with you. If they don't, that's fine. Okay. But if they kind of trigger something, or you hear something that's like in line with your thinking, and maybe the emotions that I'm communicating to you are in line with yours, then you can say, yeah, I get this thing. And maybe there's something in there that I can use to get to the next step of my goals. And so when you do that, come back and review it again. This course is part of the overall content that's inside the gift app, and will always be free. So there's no charge. You can always rewatch it anytime you want. All right, so let's get into it. So we're going to define what self-worth is. And what it fundamentally is a belief system. It is what you believe you are worthy of attaining and experiencing. So let me say that again. It's what you believe for you that you're worthy of attaining, meaning that going after, and retaining, meaning what you want to experience and what you want to keep. And it's what you believe that you can do. What you believe you can do means that that's something that you're worthy of doing. If you don't believe you can do it, that means that there's a part of you that doesn't have the belief system or the self-worth to go after it. And it's challenging. It's challenging. You know, you could say in your head that you're worthy of something, but there might be a bunch of preconditioned scenarios inside you, stories that are holding you back. And that's part of this whole discovery process. So worthiness shows up in three areas. How do we know where our self-worth is? How does it show up in life? And it starts with how we think. That's how we talk to ourselves. And the second area is how we speak. And that's the words that come out of our mouth that either say the things we mean to say, or we don't say the things we mean to say. And those words represent our self-worth. And then lastly, it's in our actions, what we do. So I want to talk to you about a story about our thinking, the first one. That's with Serena Williams. And she's just one of my all-time heroes of women in action and just moving forward, and how her thinking defines all areas of her life. She says, I think I can improve a lot. I think I can get a lot better. And I feel that there's much, much more I can do. What she's really saying is, she says, I believe I can improve a lot. I believe I can get a lot better. And I believe there's much, much more I can do. That belief system lets her push past any obstacles or barriers that she believes may be in the way. And she just pushes through it. So she's like this icon for everybody, not just women, but for men too, about how to change our thinking. And I love her to death for it. So let's talk about our speech and what we say. So Joaquin Phoenix is one of my favorite all-time actors, and he won an Oscar in 2020. And he was on stage and he was talking about how he had been a scoundrel all his life, and he'd been selfish. He'd been cruel at times and hard to work with. But he was also grateful that so many of the people in the room had given him a second chance. And what he is showing you through his language is the worthiness that he was working through at a different time in his life, and how he's so grateful today, higher worth, about the people that gave him a lot of room so that he can do what he needed to do. And we all know people who speak about themselves in terms that are, not very good. And that exposes a self-worth issue. And, what I wanted to point out with this one here is that Joaquin Phoenix has gone through those changes himself. And if he can do it, all of us can do it. I know I went through it, and I know he went through it. And so many of us can make that transition. All right, here's the third part where it shows up, is in our actions, our behaviors, and what we do. And I love Keanu Reeves because he is a walking demonstration of a man who has higher self-worth in his actions. He doesn't need to point to the people or the places, such as the charities and the hospitals that he donates his money and his time to, or the fan engagements that he has. He lets his behavior demonstrate his self-worth. It reflects his self-worth in his actions. And we all know people who have a lot of actions that are trying to draw attention to themselves. And those are obviously not high self-worth actions. They are low self-worth actions when you're trying to draw attention. Me, 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 me. And I've been guilty of doing that myself. But I want to just point out a good example of that. And Keanu Reeves is an amazing example of action. So remember, our thinking, our speaking, and our actions are where the self-worth shows up. Okay, now, there are 3 dimensions of our life where self-worth affects us. It affects us in our money, how much money we make, the career we choose, the jobs we take, the people we work for, how much we agree to be paid, how much we charge other people. It's in our health, in our behaviors around health. This is where it shows up big time for someone like myself, is that early in my life, I really didn't take good care of myself because I didn't feel that I was worthy of a good body, a healthy body, a vitality. And then lastly, around our relationships and people in our life, whether they're in our work environment, if I'm a leader and I have a team, or the people that are in the team, colleagues, or my partner, my family, my children, my parents, all that stuff matters. And our self-worth, our thinking, our speech, and our actions affect these 3 main pillars of our life, these dimensions. Okay, so that's where the effect happens. Here's the next part. It's subjective, meaning that only you can decide what your self-worth is based on those 3 dimensions that I talked about in money, health, and relationships, as well as how you think, speak, and act. So those things all add up to an assessment of how you feel about yourself. It's your self-respect, your confidence, and the acceptance of yourself. And it's an opinion of one. No one's going to be able to tell you how you should feel about yourself. You should feel better about yourself. Oh, no. You know, your self-esteem should be higher because you did these things. And that's just simply not true. No matter how much someone tells you you should be worthy of something, unless you feel it inside, there's no amount that's going to change it from the outside. It has to come from within. And that's the whole point of this series, is to teach you how to change it from within. And then you're able to push past all those other areas. All right, so let's recap on this. All right, self-worth is about the belief that I have in myself, what I believe I am worthy and capable of doing. It shows up in how I think, how I speak, and what I do. It affects and controls my money, my health, and my relationships. And it's a survey of one, meaning that only my subjective opinion, my opinion of myself, matters. Nobody can measure my self-worth. Nobody's going to come in and tell me I should or shouldn't feel a certain way. It is me. So what I want you to do next is to just pay attention. Listen to yourself talk. How do you talk to yourself? And maybe how do you talk to others? Do you hear yourself in what I call lower self-worth language or higher self-worth language? Pay attention to how you behave in the areas of your life that are going well and the areas that might not be going so well. And how does your self-worth show up in those areas, in maybe asking for more money or being afraid to ask for money? You know, these are things that really matter in our life, and self-worth is the thing that moves us closer to what we want or pulls us back. All right. Thank you for attending, and we'll see you on the next lesson. Bye.